Mga kababayan, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. I will not bother you with any other statements except to say that I would like to present to you the one of the most respected minds of our generation, Senator Juan Ponce, Enrile. Sir, it's your turn.
Salamat, Mr. President, sa inyong anyaya sa akin na dumalo dito sa inyong tanggapan sa Malacanang sa araw na ito. At ako'y nagpapasalamat sapagkat binigyan niyo ako ng pagkakataon at mapakinggan ninyo ang aking damdamin tungkol dito sa usapin natin sa West Philippine Sea. Sa totoo lang, Mr. President, hinawakan din namin yung problema na yan noong panahon ni Presidente Marcos. Pero noon mas madali ang trabaho namin sapagkat hindi kagaya ngayon, ang China ay hindi pa masyadong malakas noon ang kanyang puwersa. Wala silang Navy, wala pa sila dyan sa West Philippine Sea, kaya madali ang aming trabaho noon. Ngayon, sa inyong panahon, medyo mahirap ang katayuan ninyo. At binabati ko kayo sa inyong approach dito sa ating usapin sa West Philippine Sea. Hindi natin kailangan ang mainit na ulo dyan sa bagay na yan sapagkat yan ay malaki ang kaugnayan niyang usapin na yan. Hindi lamang sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas, kundi sa seguridad ng ating bansa, ng ating mga kababayan, at lalong-lalo na itong lupain natin na minana natin sa Espanya at sa Amerika. Kaya po, ako'y nagagalak sapagkat pinakinggan ninyo ako at pinangangako ko sa inyo na kung kailangan ninyo ang serbisyo ko, gratis et amore, para sa bayan, para sa inyo, para sa ganon ay makatulong sa inyo, Mr. President.
Salamat po. I'd like to thank you for this rare privilege given to me by you, accommodating me and the Filipino people. You can proceed now, sir, with your narrative for tonight.
Alam niyo itong South China Sea ay masalimuot na usapin dito sapagkat ang China ay kaya gumagalaw dyan sa lugar na yan sapagkat nauukol yung bagay na yan, yung lugar na yan sa kanyang katayuan bilang isang bansa dito sa ating planeta. Pag may mga ibang bansa na makahawak niyan, lugar na yan, ay palagay ko mahihirapan ng China sapagkat 80% ng kanilang enerhiya at pati na ang kanilang mga pagkain sa China ay dumadaan dyan. At yan ay importante sa kanilang seguridad. Ganon din ang Hapon. Lahat ng kanilang pangangailangan na enerhiya, 60% ng kanilang enerhiya dumadaan din dyan. Ganon din ang Taiwan at lalong-lalo na ang South Korea. Kaya dapat kailangan na friendly ang approach natin dyan, hindi hard, assertive, and aggressive approach. Sapagkat kung hindi tayo magkakaunawaan sa China, ay madadamay ang interest ng ating mga kababayan, ang ating ekonomiya, pati na rin ang ating seguridad dito sa usapin na ito. Mr. President, ako po bilang isang Pilipino at isang nanungkulan din, ako po ay anumang oras kung kailangan niyo ang aking tulong sa mga anuman na bagay sa ating bansa, gratis et amore, tawagin lang ninyo ako po.
Sir, ang totoo niyan, ang bayan ang nangangailangan sa inyo hanggang ngayon. Ako, second lang ako doon sa linya, sir. At
Salamat,
salamat.
Mr. President. Salamat.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You can now proceed with the narrative
You continue what you said.
you
kanina
gave
when
us.
you're inside.
And if you can kindly relate to the nation what you told me in a conference just before.
Kailangan, Mr. President, kung maaari ninyong payagan na imungkahi ko ito, dapat ang bansa nating Pilipinas sa inyong liderato ay gawin na malakas ang ating kakayahan na manindigan ng sarili sapagkat dito sa mundo na ito, ngayon, hindi tayo maaaring umasa sa ating mga kaalyado kahit na sila na ang pinakamalakas na puwersa sa ating planeta sapagkat marami din silang mga problema sa kanilang buhay, sa kanilang bansa. Marami pa silang problema sa panglabas. Kaya dapat palakasin din natin ang ating ekonomiya, ang ating puwersa militar, at naintindihan siguro yan ng China sapagkat yan din ang ginagawa nila para sa ganon ay sila ay manatili na isang bansa na malaya. Kaya Mr. President, I congratulate you for your effort to see to it that the country will survive in these critical times. Hindi dapat gamitin ang mainit na kaisipan na kagaya ng mga kritiko natin. Dapat balance lang ang approach natin at mahinahon.
Dad, what you said inside, you say again.
Ha?
Lahat ng sinabi mo kanina, sabihin mo. Ngayon.
Sir, if you can kindly relate to us now what this is the problem of the West Philippine Sea.
Alam no po ninyo, nung ako'y nasa Senado, Senate President ako noon, inimbita ako ni President Aquino isang hapon doon sa palasyo, doon sa cabinet room. Nung dumating ako doon, akong unang dumating. Pangalawa, dumating si Senator Trillanes. Pareho kaming senador noon. Meron siyang ibinubulong sa akin na treason. Di ko naintindihan yung gusto niyang sabihin. Pagkatapos nung dumating na si Albert Del Rosario, kalihim ng Department of Foreign Affairs, at kasama niyang presidente, umupo sila, binibriefing kami ni Del Rosario tungkol doon sa nangyari sa Scarborough, Seoul. At mukhang nagkaroon ng alitan ang pangkat natin at ang pangkat ng China doon. Ngayon, sinabi ni Trillanes na nagpunta siya sa China at kinausap niya yung mga namumuno sa China tungkol doon sa bagay na sa problema na yon. Ako naman, bilang presidente ng Senado noon, tinanong ko sa kanya, anong karapatan mo na nagpunta sa China? Yung ba, kusang loob mo lamang ang nagpunta ron? Sabi niya, hindi. Nagpunta ako doon, may authority ako. Sinong nag-utos sa'yo na pumunta ron? Pagkatapos sumagot si Presidente Aquino, sabi niya, ako ang nag-utos sa kanya. Sinabi ko kay Presidente Aquino na dahan-dahan, Mr. President, medyo masalimuot yata yan sapagkat hindi natin alam kung anong mga pinag-usapan nila ni Trillanes doon sa mga nakausap niya sa China. Kaya mag-iingat tayo. Pagkatapos noon, si Secretary Del Rosario, binigyan ako ng sulat ni Ambassador Brady natin sa China na nagrereklamo na itong si Trillanes ay binabypass siya. Yung pala, si Trillanes ay pasok at labas sa China na tila hindi na dumadaan sa immigration dahil inuutosan yata siya ni Presidente Aquino. Kaya sinabihan ko sila na dapat huwag natin gawin yun sapagkat bansa ang nauukol dito. Nagkaroon ng mediation. Ngayon, ang mediator pala doon ay ang Amerika. Ang question ngayon na hindi ko masagot at hanggang ngayon hindi ko alam kung sino ang humingi ng tulong ng Amerika. Ang Amerika ang nag-mediate. Nagkaroon ng kasunduan dahil sa mediation ng Amerika na umatras bawat China at Pilipinas doon sa area ng Scarborough. Sinunod ng Pilipinas yung kasunduan sa ilalim ng mediation ng Amerika pero ang China ay hindi sumunod. Ngayon, ang question ko, kung ang Amerika ang naging mediator, unang question, sino ang humingi ng tulong ng Amerika? Pangalawa, bakit noong hindi tinupad ng China ang kasunduan, umatras din siya? Bakit hindi man lang pinagsabihan ng Amerika ang China na tuparin niya yung kasunduan? Ang impression ko bagay, parang ginamit lang tayo doon sa bagay na yun. Ano man na interest ang nauukol para sa Amerika, hindi ko alam. Pero ganon ang impression ko. Hanggang ngayon, hindi ko masagot kung bakit yung mediator natin ay hindi tayo tinulungan para tumupad naman ang China para doon sa kasunduan na umatras sila. Kaya ngayon, sila ang nakapwesto doon, tayo nawala. Yan po ang natatandaan ko na pangyayari dyan sa problema ng tinatawag natin na panatag, isla ng panatag.
Senator, I would like the people to know, you have given us really almost the foundation of your talk tonight and probably your answers, na bakit pumayag ang Pilipinas na umatras tayo. I would like to know if you know what drove Aquino to reach that decision to order the Navy to retreat.
Yun daw ang kasunduan na natamo ng dalawang panig sa ilalim ng mediation ng Amerika, Mr. President. Kaya dapat siguro si Albert Del Rosario malaman sa kanya kung sino ba ang bilang Secretary of Foreign Affairs noon, sino bang humingi ng tulong ng Amerika? Si Ambassador Quisha ba, na siya ang ambassador ng Pilipinas sa Washington noon, o ang mismong palasyo, si Presidente Aquino? Hindi natin alam eh. Ngayon, dahil doon sa pangyayaring yun nagkakuan tayo na nalugi tayo. Dahil umatras tayo, ay China hindi nila mapaalis doon sa lugar na yun.
This is really the dilemma of the nation. For me, sir, the beginning of this problem was when we retreated. And since then, yung mga paperwork about the arbitral award has become meaningless, and the opposite camp of the political side ay nasabi that I should do my very best in asking the UN.
Mr. President, sa aking paningin, hindi naman nasasayang yung decision ng arbitration dyan sa bagay na yan. Sapagkat nandyan na yun na palagay ko nakarehistro yung decision na yun sa record ng UN. Alam nila yun. Ang karapatan natin nanggaling din sa UN Convention of the Law of the Sea. At yun gawa ng United Nations. Kaya ano pang kailangan resolution ng UN para malunasan yung sigalot na yan para sa atin. Palagay ko kahit na may resolution ang UN, hindi naman maipapatupad ng UN yung resolution nila. Wala silang police force. Wala namang world government na kagaya ng istruktura natin sa ating bansa. Meron tayong hukuman, meron tayong police, na kung merong kailangan na usapin tungkol sa hustisya, mapupunta ka sa hukom. Hindi ganyan sa level ng mga bansa. Sa level ng mga bansa, ang nananatili dyan kung ano ang kakayahan mo kontra sa kabila. Yun lang. It is what operates within the level of nations, Mr. President, is what they call the law of nature, the law of force and nothing more. That is international law.
That is what I've been telling at least our countrymen. I was frank enough early in the early days, and I said that might makes it right. And we are not, unfortunately, on the side of might. So we cannot do anything because we cannot be in parity in force and in all. So we have to talk, just talk and talk until such time, by the grace of God, if there is an opportune time for all of these things to correct itself, maybe. Ang ano ko, sir, kasi ako yung sinisisi nila na bakit ko raw I will not forcefully do everything to go to the United Nations to ask the body for help. One is that I am a realist, sir. And if this question is as big as the West Philippine Sea, this will eventually reach the Security Council.
Mr. President, in the first place, you were elected by the Filipino people to be the leader of this country. Nobody else can frame the foreign policy of the country except the president of this country. That is true to us and true to other countries. Not even the Supreme Court can interfere with your foreign policy. That's the highest political act of a president. And I wonder why people keep talking without understanding this system. No one else can frame or formulate the foreign policy of the Philippines except President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
That's what...
Not Carpio, Albert Del Rosario, or Juan Ponce Enrile. There is only one person. That's the President of the Philippines.
That's what I've been telling them, sir. What could be more genuine to a title, to a right, to a claim, than the paper itself of the arbitration?
Our claim springs from the UNCLOS, Mr. President. It was simply interpreted by the arbitral body in accordance with the dictum of UNCLOS. Of course, apart from UNCLOS, earlier we got involved in the West Philippine Sea because of the discovery of Tomas Cloma during the regime of President Carlos P. Garcia. And that discovery during the presidency of Carlos Garcia, nothing was done about it. And also during the time of Dadong Macapagal as president of the Philippines, because they were busy about something else in the country. And during the time of President Marcos, Cloma ceded his rights over Freedom Land, that was the name given to that area by Cloma, to the Republic of the Philippines. That was the first source of our claim to the area. Then UNCLOS came, and it was expanded into a greater area because the UNCLOS gave us exclusive economic rights, what we call in civil law, usufructuary right over an area of a body of water, including its bottom and all the fish and wealth that you can discover there, exclusive economic right for our country. But that is on the assumption that we can protect it. And a president of the Philippines, as a person, without a strong Navy and Air Force, cannot enforce that right, no matter what how much you want to enforce it. In the same way, UN can issue a resolution, but they cannot enforce it.
Yes, sir. That's right. And I said I was quite a bit askance about their insistence to go back to the United Council, even if it will result into a maybe not a shooting war, but a critical issue of security for the world and for everybody. Eventually, it would reach the Security Council. The Security Council has 5 permanent members. 2 of them are allies, China and Russia. Each one has a veto power. I said, if I started the violence now, I said, UN will intervene, and the Security Council, America, China, Britain, France, and the United States.
Mr. President,
Wala.
you are answerable only to history for your foreign policy.
Yes, sir.
Only history will judge you. And I think that history will judge you very well. If I were in your place, I would have done the same thing. What else can a president of this country do under our present national circumstance? You can shout, you can beat your breast, you can raise your fist without any backup. That is just noise.
Sir, in the early days of my administration, I announced a change of the direction of our foreign policy from being pro-Western to just neutral. Just playing it safe in the meantime because there might be really a trouble brewing. So, nandito lang ako sa gitna. That's the reason why I went to China and I was prudent enough to bring along my cabinet members at the time, early days. Some of them are now here. Yung mga military, sir, General Anyo was then General Chief of Staff. Delphine Lorenzana, Secretary Lorenzana was my DND. Pati maraming Esperon was there, sir. So just to make sure. And pointedly, I said to President Xi Jinping, in front of everybody, 2 panels opposite each other. Sabi ko, Mr. President, there was a long discussion. But I said, Mr. President, I know that we have conflicting claims. But, I have plans of going to the West Philippine Sea to dig my oil. Tapos, sir, ang sagot ni President Xi Jinping, almost in whisper. Parang ganito, sir, magkaharap. Sabi niya, in front of the witnesses that I brought along, just to make sure that I will be correct all the time. Be prudent about it. Sabi ko, magdig ako ng oil. Sabi niya, in whisper, you know, Mr. President, please do not do that. Please do not do that. You will just sour up, or, you know, we have a new beginning here, new friendship found. But if you do that, he said in the almost whisper, there will be trouble.
Sa totoo lang, Mr. President, ito sinasabi ko hindi dahil ako anti-American. Hindi ako po hindi anti-American. Sa mga Amerikano, marami akong kaibigan at meron akong apo na Amerikana. Ngayon, iba yung mga American citizens sa kanilang gobyerno Sa kanila, yung gobyerno nila, national interest, palagi ang pinagbabatayan nila ng galaw nila sa larangan ng relasyon ng mga bansa. Sa totoo lang, sa karanasan ko bilang Secretary of National Defense, nung panahon ni Presidente Marcos, hindi natin maasahan ang Amerika sa mga ganitong usapin. Nung Secretary of Defense ako po, nung kasagsagan ng Vietnam War ng Amerika, humihingi kami ng delivery ng Amerika ng 2,500 Armalites. 2,500 na Armalites lang po ang kailangan namin doon para labanan namin ang mga nanggugulo sa ating bansa dito sa Luzon at ganoon din sa Mindanao. Sapagkat noon, ang mga baril lang namin ay carbine at garand. At ang aming puwersa noon 48,000 lang po ang kabuuan ng sundalo natin. Nandyan na ang PC, nandyan na ang Air Force, nandyan na ang Army, nandyan na ang Navy, nandyan na ang Coast Guard. Ngayon, pumunta kami ni Presidente Marcos doon sa Clark Field. Isang araw, tanghali yun. Dahil dumating yung si Admiral Gaylord ng 7th Fleet na nakabase sa Hawaii. At hinihingi namin ang delivery ng 2,500 na Armalite para sa militar natin. Ay sabi niya sa akin na hindi low priority kayo sapagkat kailangan namin ng baril sa Vietnam. Sabi namin, meron kaming problema dito, kailangan namin ang ipinangako ninyo. Sa madalit salita po, hindi kami nakakuha. Kaya dahil dun sa karanasan na yun, bilang sekretaryo ng kalihim ng Department of Defense noong mga panahon na yun, minungkahi ko kay Presidente Marcos, kung ganito ang trato sa atin ng Amerika, nandito ang base militar nila. May kasunduan tayo under the Mutual Defense Treaty. Hindi tayo matulungan sa 2,500 Armalite. Mabuti pa, bumili na rin tayo ng baril natin, pagbayarin natin sila ng renta sa base militar nila at yung renta nila ang pamili natin. Wala tayong aasa na ibibigyan nila sa atin. At dahil doon, ang ginawa ko, para magkaroon tayo ng baril, kinausap ko si Dr. Goh Keng Swee ng Singapore. He was my counterpart. He was the Minister of Defense Minister of Singapore. Meron silang Colt factory doon noong araw. Humingi ako ng baril sa kanya. Nakakuha kami ng mga old model ng Colt. Wala pa yung kagaya ng mga Armalite ngayon. Noon merong binobomba para kung nag-i-stoppage yung mga baril. We were able to get 10,000 pieces of long arms from Singapore. And I got the ammunition from Taiwan. Kaibigan ko si General Wego, kapatid ni Chiang Ching-ko. He was the head of the arsenal of Taiwan, and I was able to get the bullets from him. Kaya ang kapalit naman noon na ibinigay namin sa Singapore na pabor, nag-istasyon sila ng isang squadron ng kanilang Air Force dito sa Clark natin at for training purposes. Kaya naagapan namin ang seguridad ng bansa dito sa Luzon at sa Mindanao noong mga panahon na yun. Kaya kung aasa tayo sa tulong ng Amerika, lalo na ngayon, magulo sila sa Amerika at marami silang problema. Nandiyan ang problema sa Gaza at Israel at Palestine ngayon. At ganon din, umaalma ang Russia. Palagay ko, kahit napupunta tayo sa UN, mag-i-issue ng resolusyon ang UN, aasahan ng UN na magpapairal nun Amerika din o yung may mga kakayahan. At palagay ko, sa panahon na ito, walang bansa na pwedeng makaya ang China. Kaya tama yung posture ninyo na kausapin ang China dito sa bagay na ito. Huwag gagamitin ng emosyon at init ng ulo.
Yes, sir. I would like to explain to the nation that sometimes I must admit that I am harsh with my words. That is my nature and I cannot change it at this time. Gusto nilang ipasa sa akin yung to attribute to me, against me, yung pagkakamali nila.
Siguro kailangan malaman natin kung saan ba nanggaling yung koneksyon ni Trillanes sa Beijing. Paano siya nagkaroon ng koneksyon doon? Mismo ako. Naging guest ako ng Beijing. Wala akong koneksyon na kagaya ni Trillanes. Paano siya nagkaroon ng koneksyon na gano'n na pwede niyang lapitan ang mga pinuno ng China nung panahon na yun? Pati Presidente Aquino, palagay ko, wala siyang ganong koneksyon. Bakit si Trillanes ay nagkaroon ng koneksyon na gano'n? Yun ang isang misteryo na hanggang ngayon dapat malaman kung anong kasagutan.
I do not demean or belittle our armed forces. Ang akin lang, sir, it is really a wonder to me why, of course, it's only President Aquino who can answer it, why he chose a military man to do the back channeling. And the problem is it was so secretive, almost a sub rosa type of negotiation that was kept secret. Now, you can name the people, we can insist on knowing the people, pero yung tataguan mo, sir, yung anong developments doon. And this is really my $64 question to everybody.
The mystery, Mr. President, to me, was why Trillanes and not someone else?
From the
Why?
Foreign Service.
Why Trillanes? Of the senators who were incumbent at the time, why was Trillanes selected as the negotiator for Aquino? And where did Trillanes get the influence over some authorities in Beijing in those days?
Yes, sir. I understand
That is
that
the puzzle to me.
he traveled to China 16 times, and during his last visit, the 16th visit, shortly, sir, but 2 days after, we lost the Scarborough Shoal.
Maybe he should explain to the nation how he got that kind of an influence to be able to reach out to the higher-ups in China. Not just anybody can talk to any member of the Politburo of China. He must have been a very influential person in China to be able to do his work as he did. And how did he acquire that influence? That is a mystery to me, Mr. President.
So with me, sir, I would say, so dapat one of these days, maybe the Filipino people should demand the truth.
They should
If
ask.
they cannot get it from the mouth of Trillanes, because maybe it would be a self-preservation thing, then at least some people in the foreign ministry, especially our ambassador at the time, Ambassador Brady, can explain, because as I understand from you earlier, he was not allowed by Trillanes to take notes. Alam mo kasi, sir, ganito yan para sa mamalaman ng mga taong Pilipino. Kagaya ngayon, nandito kami. Sa likod natin, yun yung mga yung ambassadors, pati mga stenographers, kumukuha ng record. So maybe I learned from you earlier na Trillanes did not allow him to take notes.
Ang problema ko dyan, Mr. President, bakit si Trillanes? Pangalawa, bakit binaypas niya yung embahada natin sa Beijing? At sa impresyon ko, pati si Del Rosario, nakalihim ng Foreign Affairs noon, ay binaypas din niya. Walang kamuang-muang si Del Rosario doon sa meeting na yun na tungkol doon sa pinag-usapan sa Beijing. Ngayon, at nasan na yung sulat naman ni Brady, dahil binigyan ako ni Del Rosario ng kopya, marami kasi akong record, wala na akong panahon na tumingin doon sa aking lumkat doon sa aking mga records. Nasa kanya yun, copy lang yung binigay sa akin eh. Bakit wala sa Department of Foreign Affairs yung kasulatan na yun? Dapat nandun yun.
On files.
Official record yun eh.
You're correct, sir. Yun nga ang problema natin. There is a monkey wrench in arriving at the truth. And that is really what happened in the negotiations. And why, bakit nag-atras tayo? What prompted Aquino, or upon whose advice? Because I do not think that President Aquino would just decide on his own when he knows nothing about it, even the negotiations. So, Mr. Consino, who prompted him to arrive at that decision?
Tayo ang na-11. Pero yung na mag-itan between the Philippines and China, hindi naman yun naman lang sinabihan yung China na, ito pa rin mo naman yung kasunduan, sapagkat yung Pilipinas sumunod eh. Bakit hindi ka sumusunod? Walang nangyaring ganun eh. Unang-una, kung basahin mo yung Mutual Defense Treaty, ang sinasakop lang nun kasunduan natin sa Amerika ay kung may atake sa ating mga fighter planes o ating mga barkong pandirigma sa Pasipiko, saka lang pwede nating gamitin yon. Pero ang sinabi ng Amerika sa amin nung pinag-uusapan namin yung amendment ng Military Bases Agreement, revision ng Military Bases Agreement. Si Kissinger mismo ang kinausap ko. At saka si Rumsfeld, who was my counterpart. And later on, Armitage also, when he was here to negotiate for the extension of the military bases. Nasabi nila, yung West Philippine Sea or South China Sea is not a part of the treaty area of the Mutual Defense Treaty. Kung may mangyari sa West Philippine Sea between China and the Philippines, hindi natin magagamit yung Mutual Defense Treaty. Although, pagkausap mo ang mga opisyalis ng Amerika, sasabihin na, we will help you, we will protect you, we will come to your rescue. But when the nitty-gritty is there, hindi natin maasahan yan. Kaya, dapat, kausapin natin ng Amerika kung gusto nilang baguhin yung Mutual Defense Treaty. So, para kagaya ng NATO, automatic action ang gagawin nila kung talaga na pagkaroon tayo ng problema sa mga ibang bansa dito sa ating kapaligiran. Palagay ko, hindi sila papayag niyan.
I don't know what I said. I'm just a few months away from my presidency. But I'm really greatly worried about this situation because there will be a time that we will be looking towards the resources of the South China Sea or the West Philippine Sea. There will be a time that itong oil, gas, and everything, which you said to run into billions, I do not have the figures, they might take an interest on that. And that is the time when I said that there will be a real problem. Not so much now. I might maybe keep silent about it.
Alam mo, Mr. President, ang pinag-uusapan natin talaga dyan, at ang bottom line nito ay kayamanan.
Yes.
Ang kayamanan na nandyan sa West Philippine Sea na yan, according to the best estimate, or rather, the proven reserves of oil and natural gas sa West Philippine Sea is 7 billion barrels of crude and 900 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. That's a very big quantity. That is already proven. It's there. Ang estimate ng China, kaya ganyan ang galaw ng China dyan, ay there is a potential of 130 billion barrels of oil in the West Philippine Sea. So with that amount or volume of wealth to be harvested, I doubt whether China will easily bow to anybody without asserting its rights over the area. Apart from the fact that to China, West Philippine Sea is a very strategic route. If that area is closed or controlled by America, Japan, or any other country, China in 2 months will wither away as a nation. They will have famine, riots, they will have no economy because 80% of their energy passes through the Strait of Malacca, through the West Philippine Sea or South China Sea to China. Or even Japan will suffer also if that is controlled by someone else. That's why China is very careful not to antagonize Japan because Japan has the capability. It's the number 2 naval power on this planet at the moment, second to America. And they have nuclear capability. Because the moment China controls the South China Sea, they can isolate South Korea and Taiwan and Japan. So it's a very delicate balancing effort in this area.
Alam mo, sir, I really see the problem, a serious problem in our hands. And it's quite comforting to me na malaman ko na ano ang totoo from your mouth. Because sabi ko, to me, you're the most authoritative Senate President ka noon. Alam mo ito lahat at dapat malaman ng taong bayan because hindi naman ako, I'm not talking about politics, I'm just talking about the behavior of some na tinitwist nila. So it could be just, I said, they want me to correct what is wrong. Ang problema niyan is the wrong started from them. So, ginagawa akong, sabi ni Quisa, niloko tayo. Kasi loko-loko ka. Bakit nagpaloko kayo? I hope that we would be able to weather any trouble with China now and in the future for as long as it is very dangerous for us to go into a kind of...
From where I sit, Mr. President, I think you will be able to handle it well in the manner you are doing it now. Because we lose more if we antagonize China. We have no choice except to negotiate with China. Assuming that there's no dispute about our right over exclusive economic exploitation of our West Philippine Sea asset, still we need foreign money to make it a source of wealth for the country. Now, our choice at that point will be either go to Europe and get technology and capital to explore and exploit the energy resources of our economic zone in West Philippine Sea, or deal directly with China. China is one of the best energy explorer now on the planet. In fact, I read some books which says that China now in engineering almost surpassed MIT in the quality of their graduates.
Massachusetts Institute of
They are
Technology.
very advanced already. So I think that as far as I'm concerned, we will not gain anything by antagonizing China. I'm not pro-China. I do not have any interest in China. But as a Filipino, I will take this position to protect my countrymen, to protect our core territory, to protect our economy. Maybe we can get better by talking with China instead of being aggressive.
I do not know if it was made clear to us at that time, but in none of my many visits to China, there was a talk, but it was not really translated into a concrete agreement that maybe China and the Philippines can exploit the resources in the seabeds together. This was not clear to me at the time. It might be into the present agreements now below, but as an agreement between heads of state, there was no guarantee. It's the companies down below. But when it comes to a matter of the interest of a country, you can always disregard everything down, and you have to protect yours first.
Mr. President, China is involved in energy development and production in Africa, in many parts of Africa. I think they're in that former colony of Portugal there.
Ghana?
No. That's in the western side of Africa. And then they're also in Nigeria. They have plenty of interest in Africa. Why can't we not deal with them, with China? We are in this region. Realistically, we cannot ignore China. We have to deal with China. Instead of making China as a foe or irritate China, why don't we befriend China without surrendering our rights? We befriend China because we are Orientals. We understand each other. Eh, yung malampayo lang, hindi natin alam kung totoo yung mga ginagawa na kasosyo natin dun eh. Eh, that's yun.
Well, maybe I will just ignore my critics.
That's the best thing, Mr. President.
So to
Pabayaan mo na lang sila na
derail me from my official duties, and I will just say that well, after talking to Senator Enrile, you guys have become irrelevant to me.
After all, Mr. President, you're only responsible to the Filipino people.
Correct, sir. Yes, sir.
And you're not responsible to any specific person for your foreign policy.
Yes, sir.
Yours is to protect the interest of the nation and its people in the best way you can.
Sir, you know, it's noteworthy to say that alam mo, they used to drive fishermen away, fisher folks along the coastal ranges of the Philippines. Nung nagtapos kami, sir, na nag-usap, in mga visits ko sa China, they allowed fishing. So they were allowed to enter, except in some prohibited areas, especially the lagoon there, in the middle of the sea. Hinahayaan na lang muna na inana nila tayo. They never did anything that was provocative or anything punitive against our fisherfolk, our fishermen. I don't know now, because maybe the line is becoming clear that we are more, not really forceful, but a little bit stronger now in our dealings with them. But I would like to assure, I said to China, I assure you guys that nothing of a sort of a placing their arms against you. Even if we put our entire Navy SEALs there, we will not start a war because we cannot afford it. I was just being frank to everybody. And China understood us. And that is why there's no, I said when the pandemic started, I knew right away the problem. The problem is we do not have it. We do not manufacture it. So I called President Xi. Sabi ko sa kanya na Mr. President, we do not have the resources. We have not reached that sophisticated level of technology to do a mass manufacture of vaccines right away, and even to find one. Sabi ko, wag mo lang kaming kalimutan. And he said, yes, of course, we are friends. So he said, I'll send you. So the first vaccines that arrived in the Philippines were donated by China. And now these idiots in the other side, para bang sinasabi, lumunod, I kneel down before China because of I asked help from China. So I said, look.
Sa totoo lang, Mr. President, kagaya nung sinabi ko na pag kung titingnan ninyo, ang China, ang kino-question lang niya sa atin, yung claim natin doon sa West Philippine Sea. They do not question yung core territory natin na binakuran na natin under the UNCLOS. Rine-recognize nila yan. Pati yung Benham Rice, hindi nila pinagkikialaman yun. Sapagkat sa kanilang paningin, against everybody on this planet, they discovered all of these islands themselves ahead of time, just like the Europeans discovering Asia and Western Hemisphere in the past. Yun ang kanilang position. Kaya, we leave the problem there and then talk to them friendly in order that we can get a better deal with China. We have to deal with China. We cannot afford to antagonize China.
That's my position, sir, ever since. So, ganito na lang. Ito yung paghingi ko rin ng bakuna, inisyo, sabi ko, no, it's not wrong to express gratitude. Binigyan tayo ng wala eh. Yung panahon na kailangan natin, binigyan tayo. Ano ba naman, tapos makipaghira ka pa sa panahon ito, wala ka nga ng bakuna eh, bakuna lang.
Tumutulong naman sila sa atin.
Yeah, that's good. So, they are picturing me to be a traitor. Ano daw ako yung, I am a traitor to my country, and that's treason. Sabi, gusto ko magsalita dito ng ano, pero
Noong panahon ni Trump po ba, meron kayong nakuha na tulong? Noong panahon ni Trump. Wala tayong makukuha dyan. Kami nga eh. 20 years po ako sa gobyerno ni Presidente Marcos. Panay second hand ang binibigay sa atin yung mga bulok nila mga barko. Yung Sikorsky natin, hindi nila binigay yun. Binili natin yun. Pera ng Pilipino yun. Hindi nang galing sa bulsa ng Amerika.
Let me let you in sa pangyayari, sir, sa presidency ko vis-a-vis with America. One is early on, we need something like so many Armalites, thousands, 23,000 I think for the PNP. Alam mo, hinold yan ng Congress because they said that human rights violator daw ako and it will be used against my citizens.
Matagal na lang, hindi lang ikaw po ang ginandyan nila. Si Presidente Marcos nga eh.
Tsaka yung helicopters ko, nag-order ako, tapos gusto kong i-cancela, but they reconfigured the route of the, kasi nag-back out ako sa deal, but we were able to succeed by selling helicopters to us. Bell helicopters, but made in Poland. So, kasabi ko kasi, you know guys, I am not really begging you for these choppers. If you cannot give it to us without strings attached, without any criticism, I'll buy. Pero kung iba, sabi ko, I'll go to Russia and buy. So, yan ang sinabi ko sa kanila. And they softened. At eventually, pinadala nila yung yan ang problema sa, one thing, the problem with America is human rights kaagad. The lobby is so strong that, the State Department, the lobby, the State Department is inhabited by a cross-section of different race. So there's a conundrum of, the discussions there. One high maybe high-level official who comes from a Filipino stock would lobby for his country, and then the other one. So, hindi talaga natin maintindihan itong State Department. That's why I said, I would like to stay away from you.
Nung panahon namin po, nung panahon ni Presidente Marcos, I requested for a squadron of F-16s. Ayaw nila po magbigay. Basta sabi nila, tama na yung mga F-5s ninyo. Pati helicopters, yung mga luma na helicopter nila ang binibigay sa atin.
Nagbabagsakan, sir.
Nagpunta ako sa Connecticut, doon sa pabrika ng Sikorsky. At bumili kami ng Sikorsky, pera ng Pilipinas. Hindi galing sa Amerika yun. Kaya pinagbayad natin. Nung araw, hindi nagbabayad ng renta ang Amerika sa base militar nila eh. Libre. Wala silang binabayaran. Kaya dahil dun sa karanasan namin, pinagbayad namin sila ng renta. At
Well-
saka, noong presidente na si Cory, at matatapos ng termino ng military bases, pumunta dito si Armitage. Trinabaho niya yung extension. Kinausap ako ni Armitage kung pwede na tulungan ko sila. Sabi ko, hindi pwede, Richard. Ako, ang kaisa-isang opposition senator ni Cory. 23 ang senador niya. Bakit hindi niya maipasa yung extension? I have to take an opposition position. I will vote against the extension. Nung primero kami lang dalawa ni Bobby Tanyada against extension. Sumama sa amin sila Joey Salonga, sila Maceda, sila Sotero Laurel, dami. Kaya naging 11 senators of Cory plus me made 12 to terminate the military bases agreement.
That they have substituted it with another ruse system, itong visiting forces agreement. Now, under that agreement, it is what was entered into by Aquino again. It's up for renegotiation. And that power belongs to the president. I should have an idea, hearing from you, what I should do.
Kaya ipaulit-ulit ako na iba yung gobyerno ng Amerika sa mga mamamayan ng Amerika. I-distinguish natin yun. If you are dealing with the government of America, you are dealing with a bureaucracy that talks about nothing else but their core values and their national interest. Kaya human rights, democracy, I agree. Freedom, all that. But sasabihin sa iyo, they are charitable to us. Ang gobyerno nila, madidisappoint po yung mga kritiko natin dyan sa bagay na yan.
So, this may order now to the cabinet and to all and sundry, yung talking for the government to refrain discussing itong West Philippine Sea with anybody. If we have to talk, we talk, and tayo-tayo lang, and there is one spokesman, si Secretary Harry will do it. Now you get the picture.
Mr. President, if I may suggest, we get what we can get from China on the West Philippine Sea, use it to strengthen our military capability and exploit Benham rice, Philippine rice.
Yes, sir. Benham rice is exclusively Philippine property.
Yes, that's right, sir.
I have made it clear to the world, that I will not allow any intrusion there. Well, of course, the right to innocent passage is everybody's privilege. But to allow anybody even to just try to exploit or to even to look, I will not allow them to do that, because that Philippine rice belongs to the Filipino people.
All I can say, Mr. President, is we must do everything to avoid irritating China or giving China a reason to
Be angry.
deal with our core territory, because our core territory is very important to China. It's like a fence from the Kuril down to Honshu, all the way to Ryukyu, Formosa or Taiwan, to the Philippines, all the way to Indonesia. That's the first line of defense of America. And they cannot penetrate that. The only way for them to get out of the West Philippine Sea is either they go up over Hokkaido and exit in La Perouse Strait, or they pass through the Strait of Luzon between Taiwan and Batanes, or they pass through, they go south and veer east behind Balabac and pass through the Sulu Sea to the Celebes Sea. That's why we must never give China a reason to attack our core territory.
We
That's
have enjoyed the best
that
of,
is the bottom line.
we have the best of
Nothing more,
relations.
nothing less.
We have the best of relations now. We will not wait that. We will not waste that.
Bakod tayo ng China from our northernmost island, Amianan, all the way to Sabah. Parang bakod yan sa kanila. Bigyan mo sila ng rason para invade you. Ano magagawa ng Amerika? They will not risk a nuclear war
They will
with
not.
China for us.
The next war will be fought on nuclear peace. Wala na yung conventional, sir.
Wala
If it
na.
is war against big powers, it will be a nuclear war. And it will reduce this planet into a dry land.
Vulnerable din ang Amerika. Yan nangyari lang sa kanila, yung pipeline nila. That's already a signal that there is some vulnerability on them. Tayo rin, we are vulnerable. If we irritate a country like China, we cannot patrol all our islands from the north all the way to the Sulu Sea. We are a porous country.
Yeah, very poor.
Kung nga mga Hapon nga, they were not able to guard the coastlines of the country. That's why the Americans were able to supply us with firearms in March of 1945 already. When the war broke out in 1941, December of 1941, the only time the Americans came to us to help us, the guerrillas I'm talking about, was March of 1945. That's a period of agony for the country. MacArthur abandoned us. And then they wrecked Manila. They destroyed. The Japanese did not destroy Manila. It was destroyed by the
The
Americans.
heaviest bombing to occur in Southeast Asia at that time was when they bombed Manila to rubble. So, I would like to just study very carefully with the advent or with the coming of the renegotiation of the visiting forces agreement. Something has got to give. It could not be nihinuhay lang sa atin. At least in my time. But I said, I made it clear that, well, I have not been to America for the longest time. The last visit was about 10 years ago, and President Trump invited me several times, but I said, for as long as you treat us like, something which is an inferior, ginagawa mo lang kaming detachment ninyo. You are making the Philippines a sort of an early warning device detachment bago mag-abot ng Amerika. And I said, this cannot happen during my time.
Mr. President, critics you'll always have. If I were you, I would not mind them. Just mind history, the Filipino people.
Yes, sir. So, alam ng tao ngayon bakit ako hindi sumasagot. And this is the best advice that I got ngayong gabing ito. So, it's been a long talk. Sir, I would like to thank you again
Anytime,
for
Mr. President, ratis et amore.
nalaman
I'm
ng
at your beck and call.
Filipino. To me, you're the only one that matters. So if you say that I do not waste my time with them, so I will not waste my time to them. And this will be beginning tonight rather, hindi na ako mag beginning tonight,
Huwag
hindi
mo
na
nang
ako
sagutin, Mr. President. They will enjoy that if they are being answered by President.
Okay. I said, everything is clear to us. Mga kababayan ko, I do not talk fluent Tagalog, but everybody understands the Tagalog dialect. At least narinig na ninyo sa ating one of the best minds of our generations. Sa bunganga niya, what is really the score between the salting of China and the Philippines, and how we are navigating peacefully to avoid trouble with China. It is not to our advantage, as the senator has said, that we go out and quarrel with China. Ako wala rin akong nakita. So, the senator is one with me. I am happy that I said one of the best minds of ating generation has agreed with me. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Okay.
EBC, Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. Ito ang Radyo Agila.